I grew up in church. I really believe I was justified by the blood at a young age. And the problem that I ran into was that I had no sanctification for a long period of time. I wasn't pursuing the word. I had no discipline in my faith. I went to high school and thought I was doing good because I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't cussing a lot, I wasn't having sex. And the problem with that is I was comparing myself to the world and not to Scripture, and was not growing in my faith. Nothing changed when I got to college. I ran into the same deal of comparing myself to my friends and even people at church, and I thought I was doing great because I played acoustic guitar and I could sing and I was a worship leader. My sophomore year, summer, I heard a message from Francis Chan, and he was preaching on Philippians 4, rejoicing in the Lord. At that moment, I don't know what it was other than just the Spirit moving in me, saying, you're numb to the Scriptures, you're numb to the goodness of my gospel. And I realized that I had become numb to beautiful things like rejoicing in the Lord always, and just incredible joys that I was missing out on. Later that summer, I had this incredible opportunity to go to South Asia and ride mountain bikes through the Himalayas and the Karakoram Mountains and love on people that had never heard the name of Isa or Jesus. We got to meet incredible people, and we came into some intense situations, one of which was when I was going to make a phone call to our contact in South Asia to give her a report on the day. I went to make that phone call and we drove back, which was like a 30-minute drive for the phone. We got in a little fender bender on a narrow road, which was no big deal. But the problem was that their legal system works is whenever you have an accident or a conflict, you just argue back and forth from party to party until they decide, okay, yeah, it was my fault, or no, it's your fault. And we had to go to the police station and have them mediate. After still 30 or 45 minutes of arguing, the deputies couldn't decide on what to do or who to put blame on. So they called in the chief of police at night when he had already gone home, and he came to the station very furious and unhappy to be there, and was just not up for hearing any of the arguments. And he pretty much said, you're staying here tonight. Y'all are all staying here. I don't care. We'll work it out tomorrow. And at that moment, all of the family members and friends that had told me to not go, to be careful because it's a scary place, and all the bad things that I was told before I went just started flooding into my mind, and just this fear came into me. And at that same moment, I saw this huge iron gate close, almost in slow motion. Just the reality that I was in a prison in South Asia and I wasn't going home just slammed home with that gate. And then the most beautiful thing in my experience with Christ happened as he lifted the weight of fear and brought his peace down on me. And I was able to rejoice in him. I was able to rejoice in this situation where the world tells me not to rejoice, but to be scared. This was a moment that I was supposed to be fearing for my life, and God was just saying, I've got you. I've got you. Why are you here? You're here for my glory. And I get to decide how that works out, not you. So I had the beautiful realization through the Spirit that I was to rejoice in suffering, or I was to rejoice in riding my bike peacefully through these beautiful mountains, just the same, because I was there working for a purpose for the glory of the Lord. And I know that without God, I would not be here. I would not be happy. I would not know joy. And He is so good.